Thank you
Hello.
so much for joining us. What a crowd. This is amazing to see.
It's an ocean of women.
This is almost as long as your book signing line.
Yeah. That book signing line was fantastic.
Yeah.
We left, if y'all didn't get a book, I left a few hundred extra signed ones.
So Week in a Day is the new book. Can you tell us about the concept?
Week in a Day is a concept I did for the launch of the cooking channel a couple of years ago. And it's actually quite complicated to write because you want to give people the real ability to buy enough food and to have enough patience to cook up to a work week of meals in a day. So I sat down to start crafting the TV show for Cooking Channel, and I said, wow, this was a good idea, but a really hard idea. And I came up with the idea because it rhymed with my name, Week in a Day with Rachael Ray. I thought, oh, well, that's a good promise. But we wanted to make a new promise for people. A lot of people enjoy 30-minute meals, especially if you're juggling a lot of schedules. But a lot of other people, and myself included, like to take the one day they have time to cook and get ahead, for the week. And that's the way I cook with my husband, John. We'll shop on Saturday. I'll go to do whatever I have to do. He'll clean the food, put it away. And on Sunday, that's our day to take it easy, and I cook for the week ahead. Sometimes I only do an extra 2 meals or 1 extra meal, but the idea is that when you don't feel good or you're stuck at work late or the weather's lousy, you don't have to stop and pick up takeout. You don't have to feel guilty about eating out of a box. You can go home and you have your own food.
Sure. So you and John like to cook together?
John is a great sous chef, yes. He's even better at dishes, and I find nothing more attractive than a man at the sink. So it works out well.
And cocktails.
John is a great mixologist and has wonderful taste in wine. So he's a wonderful cook. But most nights, John opens the wine or prepares a cocktail, and he's on cleanup, and I'm the primary cook.
The way to do it. So you have been cooking on TV for some years now. Tell us about some of the changes that you've seen just in what audiences are looking for when they come to you and are looking for a recipe.
Well, for the daytime show, we really try and represent a little something for everyone. I try and write a lot of meat-free and gluten-free because people request that a lot, but burgers and buffalo and, mac and cheese will always be the most downloaded every year, period. I try and write a lot of meals that are what we serve in our home, which is mostly Mediterranean diet. Lots of dark greens, lean proteins. So we try and have a little something for everybody. I think as far as programming in food television, it's become much more of a primetime thing now. And as far as Food Network goes, the shows that I do for them myself right now are the children's cook-off, the celebrity cook-off, primetime reality sort of thing, which is weird with a food spin, but cool. Yeah. It's evolved into more of a primetime sport, I think, because of, Top Chef and all the different, contest shows that are on.
Reality TV in general.
Right.
And especially if you can have a winner or a loser. We had a local winner, Brandon from Kyle.
That's right. He was on my team. He was the youngest chef in the competition.
8, right?
10 years old. And he also drives race cars here at 70 miles an hour. And he had a race on Grand Prix weekend. He's amazing.
So when you can get kids on TV and basically, because you have lots of kids who are also watching you.
Our children's initiative, Yummo, we've built a business model to support that. All of the bakeware, our organic instant oatmeals, some of the pots and pans, anything that has, even some of our cookbooks, anything that has the Yummo burst on it, all of my proceeds go direct to Yummo. So there's this constant funnel of funding. We spend a third of that funding on obesity initiatives and school food programs, a third of it on eradicating hunger, and a third of it for scholarships for kids who want to go into any food-related field at our public school. But, in working with kids and in lobbying in Washington, and the more you get involved in school food and changing the landscape of this country for the next generation to get these kids healthier and back in the kitchen, you really find that it is all about the kids themselves. They empower and retrain the family. And that's why I think it's so exciting to see someone like Brandon and all the young people we had. Haley, the young lady on my team, she's on the Alliance for Healthier Generation. She sits on their board. She's cooked for the First Lady of the United States. She started cooking to get her father healthy again because he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and today he's symptom-free. She is an amazing, amazing rock star. Hunter likes to know where all of his food comes from, and he and his father forage, grow, hunt, or fish for everything that is prepared. I mean, these are amazing, amazing children. Yeah. Jack, 13, is already a published cookbook author and used food to fight leukemia. He's had 3 bouts of it, and he's doing terrific today, knock on wood. But these are the kids that are really the future of where food is going.
So I'd like to see, are we going to see more of the kids?
Well, all of these kids have been on our show. The children's cook-off will certainly come back. These were proper chefs. These kids were amazing, and it did very, very well. I think it was the highest-rated Friday show that they've ever had. So certainly that'll come back. But it's great to see young people taking the initiative. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that has always really impressed me about you is that you multitask and you have all of these different projects going on at once. You know, you're paying attention to your philanthropic side. You're definitely tending the business side. You're not just doing 1 or 2 shows, but many shows. You've got the magazine. 1, how do you manage it all? And 2, what advice can you give us, you know, as all of us are wearing all the many hats that we have to wear?
My grandfather had 10 children. My mother was the first born of those 10. My grandfather worked, up to 16 hours some days as a stonemason, and he'd still come home and cook the food for the family and leave it in the oven when he went off to work the next day. If the Northern Lights were out, he'd wake up all the kids and bring them outside in their PJs, and he'd sing them arias in the middle of the night. There was always food at the table, and that was the time that the family communicated. But these people worked very, very, very hard. My mother worked 100 hours a week, as long as I can remember. I was in the restaurant with her on my hip because my mom wanted her kids with her, and she didn't want other people raising her children. She was a working woman. Wow. I come from people that work. I don't know any other way of life. I don't feel good if I go home too early or I haven't worked a certain amount of hours. It's literally the way I was raised. It has nothing to do with male or female. It's the way my grandfather was, the way my mother is. I like that. Someone asked me today about balance, and I don't think there's any such thing. I like working a long day, and I like eating dinner at 10 o'clock at night if I have to, because I like my quality of life as well. When I get home, I choose to make dinner for myself and my husband or my family because it makes me feel emotionally whole. But I have never been a person that looked to have the same amount of time here as there. And as far as, our children's initiatives and our dog initiative, I mean, my child is my pit bull, so that's how we started our Nutrish line. I care about what I give my animal, and it scares me when you see all of these animals that die and get sick from fillers, and so I wanted to produce food that was made to human standards, but I didn't want to profit from it. I wanted it to be able to help hungry animals, so our Nutrish has been around, I don't know, about 4 years now, and I think we're over $5 million in proceeds from that. It's a great, great model. It's made in America, no fillers. It's great. We're about to add cat food. So if you have an animal, it's terrific food, and you're doing a lot of good for a lot of other animals.
So it sounds like don't be afraid of hard work.
Don't be afraid of hard work, and if you have great business skills, use them to build for your community, too. You can really build great models for the way you give back. You can build that exponentially. I mean, if you're a good business person, you're a good business person. So,
exactly.
Extend that, and you'll find that you can make a bigger dent in what you do for your community as well.
You talked about your mother sort of being an early influence on you. Who are some of the other female role models you've had, both in the kitchen, but then also just in the world of business?
Brooke Johnson, one of my dearest friends, runs Food Network and Cooking Channel. I like direct women that work hard and have a sense of humor. I think you have to take the work very seriously, but not yourself, And I think Brooke and my mom and Julia Child, Marcella Zahn, over the years, the women that I've been most, impressed with, those are the things they had in common. Strong personalities, hard workers, self-effacing, direct. I like that.
Absolutely. So let's turn the conversation to Austin. I know this is one of your favorite places to be.
This is, I believe, a utopian city. I think this is the perfect example of what it means to be an American. Austin, I've been coming here for way more than a decade, and Austin was green before it was cool to be green, had a greater sense of community than any place I've ever visited. And what I really loved about this city that made a huge impression on me the very first time I came was that I saw a kid with gauges and tattoos having a meaningful conversation with a senior citizen. There's dogs everywhere, you know. People here, they don't seem to get hung up on ageism or sexism. It's a fair place where you see everybody really caring about each other. It's a great artist community. I'm a huge music fan, so it's wonderful that there's so much great live music here. But I think it's sort of a perfect cultural example of what it is to be an American. It's also a community that really celebrates the individual. I think it's a community where, yes, you can have your Starbucks, but when you're downtown, you can go to Cup of Joe's and you can go to the food trucks, and people really work hard to spend their dollars to support each other in the community. I think this is a very, very, very special place, and it is absolutely my favorite place to come other than New York and, you know, my home.
Yeah.
But this is absolutely my favorite city in America.
You know, you said once that your South by, yeah, I mean, I feel like the way you summarize that is sort of one of the reasons that drew a lot of us here. And what's kind of nice is when and a lot of people come to visit Austin and they go and they see this, and I'd like to think that they take some of those values back with them wherever they might go.
It's very meaningful to be here. You just feel inspired. Yeah. It's a great place to be.
Yeah, you've said, so your South by Southwest party is an excuse to come here and...
South by Southwest. Oh, it's going to be a good year, people.
Yeah. Oh, are you already working on it?
Oh, I got some big ones this year. So every year at South by Southwest, my husband is a lawyer by day, but he is a musician at heart. He wanted to go to Berklee School of Music, and his parents said he got in, but his parents were, you know, of the generation, we want you to have something to fall back on in life, so we'll pay for school if you go to be a doctor or a lawyer, but you're on your own if you go to Berklee. So he became a really musically talented lawyer, which actually worked out for me great because he went into entertainment law, so saved me a bundle in the law.
Yeah, exactly.
But John is a lawyer by day and has a great band called The Cringe at night, and we love music, every type of music. We go to the Metropolitan Opera together. We are always out at the clubs listening to the new up-and-coming bands. So several years ago, with, you know, combining my love of Austin with my love of food and my love of music, we started this event called Feedback, and now it's really, really, really grown. Last year we had over 75,000 people on our RSVP list. We had lines of about 6,000 people, 3,000 people at Stubbs at a time, 3 stages, 30 bands, 6-hour show. I write the food, and we have free food, free drink, and free music for the whole day. It's
amazing.
It's insane.
It's a lot of fun.
I just wrote the food for this coming year. I'm so excited.
It's one of the most secret menus, I tell you, of all of South by Southwest. And I tell you, this past year, Macklemore and Ryan Lewis were some of the headliners. And
Macklemore was amazing. He literally he was dancing on people's hands. They put their hands flat, and he walked out on their hands.
Wow.
And danced. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And we almost killed him, because when he got on stage, he tripped on the speaker and went, boom, face plant. And I'm like, oops.
And this was the South by of Macklemore, where he was playing something like 25 shows over the course of 4 days.
Oh, it was phenomenal.
And you guys snagged him. I had no idea who this band was. And I found out that
God, they're amazing. We had Imagine Dragons. It was a great year. We had ZZ Ward. We had Eagles of Death Metal. The funniest part was watching Eagles of Death Metal stay to watch Kenny Loggins and watching them singing along to Footloose. That was hilarious.
Yeah, it's always an eclectic mix of music, underground stuff, but beloved heroes.
We try and put something out there for literally everybody.
Right.
Oh, I wish I could tell you the big secret, but I can't. But we got a whopper coming this year.
Good. Maybe we can have the scoop in the Statesman.
Yes, I will make sure that you do. I will make sure you do. But it's going to be a year not to be missed. Yes.
Good. So the book that you did, you were book people last year for 365. What was the full title?
My Year in Meals.
My Year in Meals.
And My Year in Cocktails. And my husband is the co-author.
So it was kind of a flip book, so you could see John's Year of Cocktails through his pictures.
By the way, John took all the pictures in that book, and you'll find that the detail and the clarity on all of the photographs of the cocktails is somewhat better than all of the detail and clarity on my food. I'm like, seriously? All his pictures are perfect and focused. He's like, oh yeah, she made porchetta. Click. You know?
But I loved it because it was right as Instagram was taking off, and it felt like such an Instagram-y book. And you're big on Twitter. I wanted to ask you about how you've embraced technology.
I'm going to sign up for Instagram this coming week, I think, because my husband already has it and he loves it. But it's a great way to keep my year in meals like perpetually going. Exactly. It's cool.
But what are some other ways that you use technology or that you've enjoyed watching technology allow you to connect with your audience?
Well, I love what it's done for books because it's added value for people who like the books on their tablet, and we can have extra value for people who prefer books in print. I'm a person that mixes it up. I love the feeling of a book if I'm reading at home, but when I'm traveling, I love the convenience of being able to have it on my tablet. And I think for publication, it's really... it's brought the book to life. It started with Look and Cook. We did 600 photos so that the first 100 recipes were literally paint by numbers or step by step of each meal. And then I did 30-minute meals, live time with no commercials as video content for the book to match the 30-minute meal section. So you could literally watch along and cook with the book. And with my year in meals, there's little QR codes all through. Different little fun videos, but there's also a bonus code or whatever they call it that gives you meals and cocktails that we made for months after the book was published. So it really adds value to books. And I use Twitter to tell people what I cook every night, to thank Austin for coming out. Amazing line here, So it's a way to communicate and give gratitude and build your community. Absolutely. And I think, Twitter especially, it's a witness for the world. It is literally, when people are frightened or in crisis, it literally makes the whole world, as finite as this stage we're sitting on.
Feels like it, yeah.
It's fascinating, It's fascinating. It's a great witness for humanity, and it's a fun community builder.
I know, it's amazing how fun it can be and how serious it can be and how important, if a nonprofit, if you tweet a nonprofit, that just has made their week, it's made their year. I mean, it helps with fundraising, and I know it's hard for me to envision how we did our jobs before.
Although I have to say I'm happy that I'm the age I am. I like that when I was a kid, I had an erector set and arts and crafts and pen and paper, and every picture I drew, whether it was a giraffe or a little girl or a little boy, everybody had a bag. And my mom said, why does everything you draw have a purse? I said, it's not a purse. It's their papers and pens. Like, they need to be able to write things down. And I'm still a person who works primarily in paper and pen. I have notebooks everywhere. But I do think there's a little bit lost on kids now that, technology is where they begin. And I kind of wish, my nieces and nephews wanted to go run, jump, climb trees, and throw rocks at each other, Yeah. I think that there's a lot of human skills you need that don't have anything to do with technology.
That's a good point. One of my son goes to YouTube to learn how to do things, and then it's nice when he goes offline. He would watch this video of how to make Angry Bird cupcakes, and he must have watched it 100 times, and he was just begging me, Mom, can we please make Angry Bird cupcakes? And so we went to the store, and by God, we followed that video step by step, and we made Angry Bird cupcakes, and it was so much fun. And we never had that idea.
It's super cool. I love what Guy Fieri does with his family. Hunter and Ryder, his sons, they're very tech savvy, and they're really into all their gadgets and gizmos and all that. But a couple weeks a year, he takes his family completely off the grid. No television, no iPhones, nothing. They are off the grid. And they're in the woods, and that's that, I think that's a really cool concept.
When was the last time you were able to unplug?
Oh, I'm from the Adirondacks. We're always unplugged.
That's pretty great. Let's see, what else do I want to ask you about? You have to go back to New York this afternoon.
Yeah, fly back this afternoon. We have 3.5 shows tomorrow of the daytime show. Then the Free Network has a 20th anniversary party tomorrow night. And then I'm hoping, Jada's in town, I'm hoping to have a glass of wine with her at a little wine bar.
Tell us about the differences between the daytime schedule and keeping pace with the different
You know
kinds of
what's
guests
fun?
and then
Yeah.
the network.
I love the daytime show because I think our show has a very different personality than anything else in daytime. Not that it's better or worse, but every day for us is so different. We have lots of shows that are just content driven that feature our viewers, and just content, food or practical advice on this or that. And I love, when you get to go to work and sit down with a president or an Oscar winner or something. I mean, that's really cool. And we try and help those people feel real comfortable. That's why we do it at the kitchen table. And we don't just ask them about whatever movie clip, they have or book they have. We want to get to know them a little better. So we try and, if it's a celebrity, we try and help them forget their celebrity and, stretch it out and let them take a breath and talk for as long as they like. And so every day is so different. I really love the daytime show because it's just so diverse and you never know what's going to happen. We do 3 shows a day and each show is so different from the next. It's just exciting to go to work. I still love going to work at Food Network, though. I mean, I've known these people for more than a dozen years. We're family. So it's very easy for me to go shoot week in a day. I make 10 dinners. I still go home and make 11 dinner for John. But it's a place I feel really comfortable. I mean, and a lot of my friends that work on our daytime show also work with me and came from Food Network. And Scripps is one of our partners. So I've been very blessed in that as our business has grown and our brand has grown, a lot of the people in my life have stayed constant. And we are very loyal to our partners. And, Scripps is a part of our daytime show as well. And it's a nice feeling to
feel
be
like
with
that's
people
one of,
for a long period of time.
One of the keys to the longevity of your success is sort of having built up these personal relationships. And
I think that loyalty is important. I also think that you need to decide what your brand is and make sure that you're always staying true to that. And at the same time, you always have to be growing. We add more and more product every year to our brand. But for me, it always has to be the best value of its kind. I had to literally design it myself or work with it in my kitchen before I'll put my name on it. Like, we have to test it first. But everything that we do has to be accessible, has to be best value, and has to solve a problem. Like, what does it do that everybody else's thing doesn't do? Like a lazy ladle or handles in bakeware. It's the Bubble and Brown, the oval spaghetti pot. It has to have a purpose.
Right.
So I think that we all go to work with these common denominators, and it makes it easy to work with each other and to help the brand grow.
That's one thing that has kind of at least changed, I feel like, in the past 5 or 6 years, is that more of us have to start thinking about ourselves as brands. And even if you might not even have a small business that has launched yet, but so much of what you touch.
It's got to be a 360 approach to business for sure.
Yeah.
No matter what business you're talking about, music, the food industry, television,
running a PTA.
Yeah, running a pizzeria, whatever.
Yeah.
You really have to be accessible to your customer. You have to give them all the information you can. You have to make their experience as easy and painless as possible. You really have to think about it that you are building a brand.
Any dream guests on the show you haven't been able to snag yet?
Every day is such a pleasure, and some of my favorite shows didn't have celebrities at all, just people that were an inspiration in one way or another. But I do have a short list of folks that if I just flash back in my mind, favorites over the years. First time I met Michael J. Fox, who's now a dear friend, I was so knocked out by what an optimist this person is, and he's such a personal hero, of mine. And he was there to congratulate a girl who had raised $64,000 selling pancakes for Parkinson's. Wow. And I was so moved by that, the whole thing. And he sang that Billy Vera song in my ear, and we danced at the end.
Oh my gosh.
It makes me want to cry. He's just the coolest. The day President Clinton was there to launch our children's initiative, one of the biggest honors in my life. And my mom came, which was a big day, and she even did a hair flip. I think she was flirting it up with President Clinton. My first crush is, I was 3 years old, and I used to only wear a dress. I hated dresses. I would only wear a dress if the Tom Jones show was on, because I thought Tom could see me. So the first time Tom Jones is on the show, I was sweating so bad, I had flop sweat everywhere, and I couldn't even look at him. My hands were like trembling so hard. Now he comes over for dinner, so I've mellowed over the years.
John loves that.
John hates that everybody that's on my list ends up on our show and in my house. He's like, honey, can't you bring Selma home for me?
What a special thing, though. I mean, your roots in food and cooking come from 30-minute meals and working in a kitchen, and now you're able to sort of bring your fans and who are doing such great work together and make their dreams come true. I mean, what a reward.
I really love, what I love about our show the most is that people get to see a lot of themselves. It was very important to me that our content be diverse and that people really felt like they owned a part of our show. I really believe that America is just such a unique place. If you work hard, opportunities will present themselves, big and small, and I truly believe anybody can be a Rachael Ray, because here I am, and I'm a goofball waitress from upstate New York. So I am very proud that our show really represents our brand and our viewers, and that it feels like a real community billboard to me, like a giant cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac, it's great. I live in a cul-de-sac, and
it's cool, right?
It's like a village, Yeah, it's the village. It can be so large and so huge, but yet it can feel so small, just depending on what brings you together. So besides the South by Southwest show, what are you looking forward to in the next year or two?
Well, we're launching cat food. We're adding that. I mean, my mom has about 20 rescue cats, so she's been nagging me about that for years. I'd like to see Nutrish, grow, and our children's initiative grow until it's not necessary for it anymore. I'm just a person who looks at each, one day as an opportunity. I love getting up and trying to decide, how to live that day to its fullest and to the best of my capabilities, and then I move on to the next day. I've never been a person that really planned too far ahead, which sounds ridiculous, but it's the absolute truth. I think that at this point, our brand and our business has a life of its own, and I just have to be aware and always, willing every time I get out of bed.
Do you ever accidentally overcommit yourself? I feel like...
Sure, but I feel that everybody does that, and those are just long days, and you make it home, you still make it through, and you're like, the other day, we had 3 shows. We're on book tour. I started at the gym at 5 a.m. I was on QVC at midnight, and I didn't get home until 11 the next night. Wow. But I met a bunch of friends for pizza, and it was fun, you know what I mean? Yeah. Down to the Motorino. And, people I don't get to see a lot. So it was an opportunity to still have a little bit of fun at the end of that, very long day. So, I mean, that's what I meant about, not always looking for balance, You have to respect the opportunity that you have, especially in a struggling economy. I mean, it's a huge opportunity to be at QVC and talk to your customer and be able to share with people how the design came about or why this or why that, to answer questions or concerns. They're my boss, so that's an opportunity. You have to honor that. But I still wanted to have pizza and a glass of wine when I got back.
Work hard and play hard.
Work hard and play hard. Yeah, I like that.
All right, I think that's a good parting note for us. Rachael, it's been really a pleasure. Thank you for coming.
This has been a spectacular event. I'm so impressed and humbled to be here. Thank you for having me. It's
we'll have you back anytime.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody.